everyone. I am Nicole Oman and I'm with Guided by the Omens. And today is Monday, August 17th, and I'm here with your weekly guidance. This is where I look at the astrology for the week ahead and then pick a few cards to give you a little advice on how to navigate these energies. Well, hello, we are in the middle of an eclipse corridor. So that means that we had one eclipse and then we have 2 weeks and we will have another eclipse. So the first eclipse was a total solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. And then next week, we're going to close that out with a full moon. And that will be a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And that will shut that little corridor, if you will, for the next 6 months. Now, eclipses happen every 6 months. They happen twice a year. And these are times where in between of the eclipse, a lot of transformation can happen. So a lot of doors will shut and new doors or new seeds will be planted inside of that corridor. And then within 6 months, they will start to grow. And that's what we will be working on for the next 6 months ahead. So it's always really important to connect or pay attention to what happens within these eclipse corridors, because they are going to set the foundation for the next half of the year. Because we're not going to have another eclipse season until the end of winter, beginning of spring. So what are we working on right now? Well, this Leo eclipse happened last week, and I don't know about you, but there was some shenanigans. Maybe light shenanigans, but there was definitely a little bit of trickster energy in the air. And Leo energy is a lot about feeling confident. It's kind of on the surface. You know, Leos can be boastful and bold and proud and very lion energy. But what I've been feeling from this energy is deeper. And this Leo energy can connect us to our inner child and some deeper desires, some deeper happiness that was never satisfied in those younger formidable years. So we're having to look at some of these disappointments. We're having to look at maybe where we don't feel like we do connect to our confidence and why we don't. And maybe these dynamics in our childhood, maybe the relationship with our parents or our siblings or our friendships, that kind of really put a damper on the foundation of our self-love and our self-confidence, and allowing ourselves to be fully authentically ourselves and also feel safe. So within this time period, we might come to these opportunities or challenges. I always see challenges as an opportunity too, because if we are being challenged, it's an opportunity for growth, for some self-awareness, and maybe even doing something a little different to give ourselves a better result in the long run. So we might be finding some challenges or some mirrors, some people who are coming into our lives to give us an opportunity to show up a little differently. So if we have always been a people pleaser and somebody is doing something that doesn't feel in alignment with us, do we go along with that crowd so we do feel like we fit in, or do we pull ourselves back, reflect, and kind of reassess on the way that we want to handle these situations differently? And I will give you permission to do that right now, because I think this is really important for the direction your life will take within the next 6 months. If you are honoring yourself, then you might find new opportunities that you will be honored. But if we go back into that old pattern and allowing ourselves to go with a crowd just so we don't ruffle any feathers, we might end up being in another cycle of self-sacrifice and not being really honoring our true self. So as we go into the transits this week, they're a little more subdued, but nothing's totally subtle when we're in an eclipse, because everything does need to get pulled to the surface. And within this time, we have some of these little things that I'm just going to give you some gentle reminders and maybe a little bit of advice. But the biggest thing that we're going to be going through is we're moving out of Leo energy, and then the sun will be in Virgo starting at the end of the week on Saturday. And so to all people who are Virgos, I am a Virgo, the energy between a Leo and a Virgo is very different. The Virgos have a tendency to really connect to the earth, their bodies, their routine. And I want to take this Leo energy and kind of connect the two. This is why I'm wearing epidote, and it also has pyrite in this particular bracelet that we have. And I love that because pyrite energy is very connected to Leo energy, and epidote is very earthy and very Virgo-like. It's literally the stone of maturity. How can we mature that pyrite energy, which is self-confidence and value and worth and abundance? How can we really get grounded within ourselves so that we can go into a state of maturity and take care of ourselves in a way that maybe when we were younger, we weren't taken care of? Maybe we have to learn to be the inner parent a little bit and protect that inner child within that wants to create, wants to be expressive. And maybe that part of us needs to go, you can. Here's a safer environment to do that. Here's a better routine so you can have enough rest so you feel good to feel yourself. Or here's a better diet so maybe you can let go of self-sabotaging behaviors of unhealthy foods or whatever that might be. Because Virgo is all about the daily tasks that really serve us or what doesn't serve us. And it's also about connecting to our physical reality, our physical body, our physical nature. She is the Virgin Mother, the purity. And so if we connect to this goddess of harvest, what can we really tend to so we can have a healthy harvest in our life? So I'm going to jump into the astrology and then pull some cards to help with these themes. If this week feels a little pulled back and self-reflective, that's a great thing. Allow yourself to do that. Take care of yourself so you know what needs to be tended to as we move forward. So the first thing, there's a lot happening today. We have the planet Mars, which is taking action. That is in the sign of Cancer, which is going to be a little bit more emotional and intuitive. And that's squaring Neptune, which is the planet that is connected to our intuition, kind of connected to this higher guidance system, if you will. And it's squaring Aries, or squaring Neptune and Aries. And so what this energy is making me feel, these are all very fiery kind of energies, but with this kind of need to be intuitive. So what I'm getting from this is maybe today we need to take a little bit of a breather. We need to take a little rest. Maybe it feels like there's a little bit of a fatigue or a lot lower energy here. And if that's the case, your body's telling you to rest. So it can kind of reassess or recalibrate. This feels almost like the energy of a car going into the shop and then working on your engine. And you can't turn on the car until the engine is fixed, okay? You don't want to blow the engine. So if something is telling you to slow down today, please allow yourself to connect to what needs to be fixed or focused on. Maybe we need to deal with like our finances or something that needs our attention before we move forward. Then we have Mercury. This is the way we communicate in the sign of Leo at the moment. And that is trining Saturn and Aries. So let me tell you what that means. So Mercury and Leo, this is kind of finding that self-confidence. How do we communicate with confidence, with self-trust, with actually saying what we mean? As it trines this energy of Saturn and Aries, also a fire sign. Leo and Aries are both fire signs. So this is allowing ourselves to find our passion again, find our fire, our spark, our passion again. But Saturn energy is all about maturation, Okay, zone of maturation. So we need to mature who we are so we can feel confident. And we might have these voices of our younger self going, that's not safe. I can't do that. Last time we did that, we got embarrassed or we said something stupid. And so we're holding ourselves back, or maybe, we have that subconscious energy of mom and dad said, children are not, they're seen, not heard. And so we shut down our voice. We shut down our true belief, our true expression. And we really want to go, hey, that doesn't feel right to me. Or I don't want to go with what you're saying because I'm exhausted. That's maturing, is saying what you mean and not being afraid to be rejected or ostracized because of what you're truly feeling, okay? Or maybe we're a little afraid to put our ideas on the table because you feel like they might be rejected or stolen. Honor your feelings, honor how you feel, but you might need to have a little bit of this courage to act in your own sovereign and authentic nature anyway. And the next energy is Venus in Libra. So this is the way we love. And it's in the sign of Libra, which is its ruling planet and ruling sign here. So there's a lot of harmony in this energy, and it's sextiling Jupiter and Leo. So Jupiter and Leo is all about expansion. And here's this inner child energy, again, wanting to expand in a very harmonious way. And this could make us feel really good. So instead of doing a card pull for all of those, because all of this is happening today, I am going to kind of mush all of those beautiful energies together. And I'm going to pull a couple cards for the day so that we can really know how to navigate this kind of concoction of all these different energies and what way will allow us to feel balanced or centered. Okay, this is a really interesting energy here. So the first card that I have for this energy is the Tower card. This came in the past position. What this is telling me is maybe something is rocking us a little bit. Maybe there is a situation that shook our world. Maybe there was an unexpected breakup or unexpected challenge that has kind of made us come out of our comfort zone and really have to deal with something we have been avoiding. There is a lot of transformation here. There's a lot of butterflies, and I've been seeing butterflies and moths a lot in the last few days. And this is a symbol of deep transformation, not minor transformation. A butterfly literally has to go from being a grounded land insect that eats only, leaves and all of that. And then it liquefies itself and goes to another part of itself where it is cocooned and transforming all the way to a cellular level. It gets broken down all the way to its core so it can completely change everything about itself. And every rule in the book is different, and turns into a winged insect that can fly, that craves different foods and resources, and it's now a pollinator, you know what I mean? So it has completely changed its purpose, it's completely changed its appearance, and it has to go into a state of complete surrender for a period of time so it can transform into its new state. So this probably has happened in your past. It might be immediate past, and also might be kind of a long-term past. And you might be coming out of that cocoon state. You might have been broken down all the way to a cellular level, and now it is time to figure out who you are. And we keep going back, to that childhood energy of going, last time I did that, it didn't work. When I jumped off that leaf, I hit the ground because you were a caterpillar. Of course you did. But now you have wings. You have different roles. You have different you have a different set of skills. So you're not that person anymore. So we have to let go of that fear of what we couldn't do then, because we have wings now. You can fly, you can jump because you can fly. So we have to move out from this state of fear of what happened in the past and allow us to kind of trust our new path, trust the seeds that we have already planted, trust a path that feels a little bit better to us. And I want to get okay. So this kind of feels like a path. Maybe what we had walked, what we're afraid of is this person's walking and all of these like coins or pentacles or seeds are dropping from his backpack here. Maybe what we're coming from is a place of lack or a place of loss. Maybe in the past, somebody took things from you. Maybe you put out a lot of energy and a lot of effort and then it had no return. What they're saying is that was the past. This next path is a path of reciprocity, a path of allowing yourself to give and receive in equal harmony and equal measure. And those people that you are trying to do this with, if they're not in this in the vibration of reciprocity, you are allowed to walk away, and you will have that kind of red flag waving a lot sooner. Maybe last time you didn't see it, so you kind of felt stupid, you felt embarrassed, you got kind of duped in a way. But this time you know your value and you know your worth, and you're going to set a boundary with that, maybe even energetically before you even meet these people, so that they are in the same vibration as you attract these new people into your life. So just set that intention that if they are not in reciprocity, if they're not willing to give to you as much as you give to them, then they are not your people and they're not the partnerships that you want to be involved with this time around. And it's okay to set that very strong freaking boundary, that line in the sand, put that fence. And the fence isn't keeping everybody out, but what it is saying is there is a like threshold guardian or a bouncer here at your fence going, if you're not in this alignment here, you can't come on my property. That's trespassing. But if you are, there is somebody to usher them in. I had a beautiful session with a client last week, and she was like, instead of putting walls up as my boundaries, I'm putting doors. And I love that. I felt so inspired by that, because it is healthy to have healthy and strong boundaries. But if we have too big of boundaries because we've been hurt so hard, we're putting walls up and nothing can get in. But if we put doors are there to let people in and let people out. But there's also a door and a lock. If they are not in the same alignment with you, you can lock the freaking door and say, no thanks, no soliciting and no trespassing. Thank you very much. Or you can open that door and go, come on in. And me and Ryan use crystals to do that energetically at our doorways, of setting the intention and allowing them to be threshold guardians, little bouncers for us to go, if you're not in this alignment, you can't cross the threshold. And it's funny how a lot of people will like kind of bounce off the invisible wall and go, oh, I can't come in. And then I keep my little ears open and go, okay, so what's their intention? If they can't get into my house, it's because there is something off. And I pay attention and it weeds it out, okay? So allow yourself to honor your boundaries. Allow yourself to honor these threshold guardians, to keep any unwanted energies from kind of moving across your threshold. If they're not in alignment with you, they can gently move on, because honestly, we want to have quality over quantity right now. We don't need a million people to help us. We need some really solid, loyal friendships or partnerships that will help us and keep us and allow us to feel safe. And there's a lot of energy of feeling safe this week, okay? So on August 21st, we have Venus in Libra, opposing Saturn in Aries. So this is an energy of upgrading our value as well, of upgrading what feels harmonious, not just upgrading, maturing. So it kind of piggybacks on what I just said. That maturity might be changing your boundaries from walls to doors, and maybe even putting up some doors. Okay. So some of you might have walls and didn't want to have anybody in, and some of you might not have had any boundaries at all. So it's kind of finding this maturation of, if it doesn't bring you harmony, it's okay to say no. And if you test them a little bit, if you test a person, it's okay. They're always going to show their true colors. So sometimes we feel bad to go, hey, I need to have this conversation with you. And if they don't respond well to it, it's because they don't want to respond well to it. They can't. It's not in their capacity, okay? This energy is a lot about trusting your emotions and trusting your intuition. Sometimes we're going into a state of worrying about other people's feelings, worrying about if we're going to be received well. And we're getting there is two energies here. Look at this. We're either getting caught in our head and overthinking. We're having massive amounts of anxiety, a massive amount of just worry, and none of this is actually grounded in any reality. But you have another option here. We can take a step back when we get caught in our anxiety and worry, and we can get back into our center. And how do you do that? It's fairly simple. You just sit. Take a step back, remove yourself from that situation for a moment, find a restful space, and sit with your eyes closed and connect with your breath, your body, and your heart. Something I say to my clients all the time when we start working together is I give them the practice of observer breathing or observer meditation, where we connect to any sensation in our body. If we're having physical pain, and if you're having, especially if you're having chronic pain, this is your body trying to express itself to you, okay? And the reason why it's doing that is because there might be something off and we're not listening to it. Just like a child who has a need and the parent is just kind of ignoring it. Our bodies do the same thing. If it has a need and we have been ignoring it, or we keep going to the doctor and the doctor's not giving us any answers or any relief, it's because sometimes the body just needs good old-fashioned attention. And so we need to sit with the body and sit with the feelings of that sensation itself. Instead of going into our head or going into fear or going into whatever that is, sitting with the feelings and the sensation is going to give us a different relationship to our body and our soul's need. Usually the body is just a very physical anchor or energy that is that is telling us what is out of alignment. So if you sit with it and let go of your mind and your logic for a second and feel into the sensation itself, the doors begin to open and the communication of the body begins to happen, where it begins to unravel and show you and allow you to feel what is out of alignment within your body. When I did this, when I was going through fear of lack, when everything was falling apart for me financially, I could feel the electrical currents of worry and that fear going through my body, and I was releasing that, and I just stared at it with neutrality. I didn't buy into the thoughts. I didn't even buy into the sensation. I felt it, but I kept staring the beast in the eye, if you will, the fear in the eye. And my body started to literally sweat and shed the fear. And yes, did I go through a very challenging time? Absolutely. But sometimes when you're going through a dramatic event, you don't need to add fuel to your fire by creating mental drama. Allowing yourself to stay in the center and navigating the task ahead is enough drama. It's enough of a task in itself. So let's stop exacerbating it, getting back into our center, and allowing ourselves to feel through what we need to go through. And so it becomes more efficient way of processing the stress that we're going through, and we go into solution instead of creating more problems. Okay, so that's the energy that I'm getting from this. And then lastly, On the 22nd, this is on Saturday, we are moving into Virgo energy. So this is going to be very helpful as we go into Virgo energy. I have, because we're in the eclipse quarter, I also have a day and night moonstone bracelet. This is going to help with that solar eclipse and lunar eclipse energy. But as we move into Virgo, we're going to move into having some proper physical solutions, things to really focus on, things to tend to, if you will, so that we can show up with more maturation and also show up to the actual problems that we need to deal with instead of, like I said, making more drama for ourselves. So let's see the energies that I'm getting for moving into Virgo season this week. Oh, I love this. It's very Virgo. Okay, we're going to be dealing with some. So the theme here, we have the Devil card. So this is that temptation I was talking about. This also the fear. Are you going to allow the fear to allow you to be a puppet? This is a time, and I love that the Justice card came on top of this card, because if you look, there is two. It's kind of like the angel and the devil here, right? Here is this woman with her boundary, with the sword, with balance, right? So she has these two cups that are in perfect alignment. But if you flip this card, here is this kind of shadow self. There's always the voice within us that can create the drama, create the fear, create the devil within us. We have to look at our own inner demons, if you will, and our own inner drama in a way with grace, strength, and maturity. You're stronger than your thoughts. You're stronger than these anxieties, these worries, and also the things that we can't control. The only thing that we can do is trust ourselves that we can make it through any challenges that we need. This is going to fortify anything you're trying to grow right now, because it's not about getting this energy. It's not about the plant itself. It's about the gardener. If the plant dies, if the gardener knows what to do, it can just take the seeds from the plant, regrow it, and then it will become alive. So don't worry about if something falls away. If something falls away, you have the knowledge and the experience and the opportunity to regrow whatever you're trying to plant. If it died, it's because it was dead, right? It wasn't healthy anymore. So whatever needs to kind of die out in your life, don't worry about the thing that died. Don't worry at all. Trust that you have the experience and the wisdom to plant something new in a different soil. And that it's not going to take, I love the hangman in reverse. It's like you've already been through this journey for yourself. It's not about the plant. It's about you. You're the darn plant. You have created the amount of wisdom that it needed to take to go through anything. Okay. And that can never, whatever you've learned from that tower experience, no one can take that away from you because you fortified it within your own self. So that is this week. I know that the astrology is kind of like, whatever, but there's a lot going on here in this eclipse corridor. It's really about you doing some self-reflection and getting to know yourself now as the butterfly after this really hard cocoon process. Because this part is the fun part. You get to recalibrate who you want to be in your own sovereignty, in your own alignment with your own choices. You don't have to be anybody else than who you want to be. The world is your oyster, but that means you have to take responsibility for your own decisions and your own actions. No one can make those things for you. It's not a parent telling you what to do anymore. It's you going, do I want to have ice cream for dinner? If you're a dang adult, you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. It's your life. So you have to take responsibility for the decisions you make. And that is scary and freeing all at the same time. Okay, everyone, that is all that I have for you this week. I hope this finds you well, and I will see you next week as we go into the next full moon and that lunar eclipse, and how we go about really setting that foundation and moving forward for the next 6 months to come. All right, everyone, see you again next week. Namaste.